What's up, NBA fans? Dom2K on the mic, and welcome to the new series, Did You Know Basketball? And yes, before anyone says anything, this series was directly inspired by one of my favorite YouTube channels called Did You Know Gaming. Nobody's doing Did You Know Basketball yet though, so I'll gladly take that spot. In these videos, I tell you stories about NBA players and situations that you might not have heard, and judging by the lack of coverage on this topic, I'm thinking not everyone knows what I'm about to tell you. Did you know that back in 2007, before the Celtics were able to land Garnett, there was a handshake deal in place to send KG to the Lakers? Yes, Laker fans, 2012 wasn't the only time you guys got screwed out of a deal. Although you ultimately got Gasol to make up for what I'm about to say, this was the first idea for Kobe Bryant's next duo partner. Now, 2007 was just a few years after Shaq left Los Angeles because him and Kobe were failing to coexist. Although they were probably the most dominant 1-2 punch of all time, there was just too much turbulence between the two. Now, since this video is about Kevin Garnett, I'm going to try to keep this next section fairly brief as there's enough content to cover for it to be its own video. There were many reasons Kobe and Shaq didn't work out. We'll just stick with one important point, that Kobe didn't like the fact that people were saying his career wouldn't be the same without Shaq.
There's things that I wanted to do with my career, take my career to another level, that I was just incapable of doing as long as we were playing together, and which I was fine with doing until I heard him say a few times that, Kobe's not going to be as successful without me, and this, that, and the other, and that kind of became the chatter. So now once that became the chatter, it's like, oh wait, whoa. No.
Especially for a guy who's hyper competitive.
It just wasn't going to work. So no matter what happened, even if we had won that championship, me being a free agent, there was just no way. I had to accept this challenge, and I had to see what I could do.
That, amongst a lot of other things, caused a deep rift between the superstar duo, and unfortunately, Los Angeles was probably robbed of at least 2 more championships, if not 3, as Shaquille O'Neal was traded to the Miami Heat. Phil and Kobe also ran into various problems, and all of this really made LA just a murky place to be for a while. For these reasons, Kobe ended up with players like Kwame Brown and Smush Parker for a few years. Now, no disrespect to those two as men, but having them as starters would probably drive any superstar stir crazy, and by 2007, Los Angeles' lack of urgency in getting Bryant help was driving him towards the exit, or so he said. Now, I'll just flat out be honest here, Bryant's whole trade me saga is so worthy of its own video that for now, I'll just say he was dangerously close to not having the Los Angeles legacy that we've all come to know and love. But none of his trades went through for various reasons, one of which being he was boycotting going to teams he couldn't win a championship on. We generally know that Kobe's banter pushed the Lakers to get him Gasol, and they lived happily ever after, well, for a while. But in this little sliver of time before they got Pau Gasol, they had made a handshake deal for Kevin Garnett. At the time, KG was right in his prime, averaging 22 points and about 13 rebounds. He was also playing amazing defense. It's also worth mentioning KG had already added an MVP to his resume by this time. However, as is the case with most stars of his caliber, well, his team was trash. The Wolves were 30-52 that year and hadn't made the playoffs in 3 years, a record that is still counting today in 2016, which basically means KG's best years were being wasted. Now, if you recall at the time, Kevin McHale was Minnesota's vice president of basketball operations. That'll be important in a minute. Minnesota was looking to rebuild and move KG, and the Lakers were looking to get Kobe a second star so he could shut up about being traded. It was the perfect marriage. The Lakers and Wolves engaged in talks where Lamar Odom and Andrew Bynum were the focus of the package. But of course, KG is a great player, so they weren't the only ones with their hats in the ring. The Cleveland Cavaliers were a distant third team in talks for him, but an even bigger player was the Boston Celtics. Recall that I said Kevin McHale worked for the Wolves. In addition to that, his former teammate and great friend Danny Ainge was the GM of the Boston Celtics. This is sounding pretty sketchy, isn't it? It seems sketch because they were friends, but there are multiple stories about why this went down the way it did. To start with, Glenn Taylor, who was the owner of the Wolves, said that part of the reasoning for not trading him to the Lakers was that he didn't want Garnett in the West, which is pretty understandable. I mean, who wants to create the next super team in their own conference? But also, Boston did have a little bit more of an enticing package. There were concerns about Lamar Odom's behavior, and Bynum was unproven, although Taylor did say he thought he'd be a star. Boston, however, could offer a package of young players along with Al Jefferson, who at the time was an awesome center, averaging 16 points and 11 rebounds. Putting up these digits in only his 3rd year meant he would probably be dominant, and he was for some time in Minnesota. However, the part of this that gets screwy is that McHale and Ainge have admitted that they were always formerly talking about how they could one day get Pierce and Garnett together, whether that meant sending Pierce to Minnesota or getting KG to Boston. For this reason, when the handshake deal fell apart, many Lakers fans called foul play, asserting that McHale and Ainge were plotting to keep Garnett away from their old rival Lakers. Despite all of this, Garnett asserts that it was him that nixed the Lakers deal, and he cited turbulence between Bryant and the organization that kept him away. Garnett said, quote, "I was pretty close, to be honest. What disturbed me about the whole Lakers situation was Kobe and Phil at the time. It was pretty bad. The situation was something I didn't want to get into. It was my choice. There was a lot going on, and I didn't want to be a part of it." So regardless of what you believe about this situation, there you have it from the man himself. A lot of you might not remember because now all remember is that Kobe Bryant was loyal, but boy did he go through an extremely hot time with the Lakers. So hot, in fact, one of the best players in the league didn't want to go there to play with Kobe Bryant. I could stop the video here because that's pretty much the story, but let's stop for a second and talk about this. What if KG had went to the Lakers in 07 instead of Boston? History as we know it would have flipped on its head, as Ray Allen and Pierce couldn't do it on their own to get to the 2009 finals, so it's safe to say they wouldn't have been there in 08 either. Instead, two of the angriest alpha male personalities in the league at the time would have been teaming up, two MVP players who played all NBA defense. There's no question that their leadership would have probably inspired others to never slack on D, because do you really want to be in the crosshairs of a flaming from both Garnett and Bryant? But then again, who knows if they actually could have coexisted with personalities that strong? That's all subjective, but what isn't subjective is how crazy their team would eventually become. Take a look. In our universe, the Celtics acquired KG, forcing the Lakers to look elsewhere for help. In the 2007 draft, the Lakers have selected Marc Gasol, brother of Pau Gasol, with the 48th overall pick in the second round. They would go on to trade this pick to the Grizzlies and other players for Pau Gasol in February of that season. But if the handshake deal had come to fruition, and the Lakers acquired KG for Odom and Bynum, the Lakers retained that second pick and bring Gasol over in the following season of 2008-2009. Being that the Lakers had traded Bynum by this time, their center position isn't hard to give to Marc Gasol because Ronnie Turioff is playing it. This would have given the Lakers a potential lineup of D. Fish, Kobe, Trevor Ariza, KG, and Marc Gasol. If the Lakers follow our timeline and go through with signing Ron Artest the next season, that gives them an upgrade at the small forward, and the Lakers now have an extreme team on the floor for that season. If you're too young to remember, Artest was a great player in 09, and dropping him in there with KG, Kobe, and Marc, yeah, they would have been pretty unstoppable. Now, of course, some things are just up to fate itself. For instance, if KG goes to the Lakers, does he make that awkward landing that forced him out of the 09 playoffs? We have no clue, but we do know that this Lakers dream team of 09 didn't happen. Instead, the Celtics got Kevin Garnett and went on to win the championship at the Lakers' expense and make one more finals. Meanwhile, the Lakers got Gasol and still did pretty well for themselves, winning 2 championships and making 3 straight finals. So, there you have it. Before fate brought the Celtics and Lakers together in the finals for the 12th time, there was a deal in place that would have changed the very course of NBA history as we know it. There's no question that watching the 2008 Defensive Player of the Year KG paired with the ferociousness of a prime Kobe Bryant would have been must-see TV, and who knows what teams they could have built going into the future. Knee injuries cut about 2 or 3 prime years off of Garnett's career, but if that doesn't happen in Los Angeles, they would have had something special for a long time. If you didn't know this story before watching this video, give it a like and a comment. I had fun telling it. I'm Dom2K, and I'll see you on the next edition of Did You Know Basketball. And before I officially get out of here, I really have to say thank you guys for all the support. My support has been growing so fast that I haven't even been able to just stop and say thank you for, X amount of subscribers, because I think before I posted my LeBron video about his legacy, I probably had like 900 subscribers, and at the making of this video, I have 3,700, and it's in big part to that LeBron video. That LeBron video has done 200,000 views in just exactly 2 weeks, I think. That is incredible. That is so far beyond anything I'd ever done. If you don't know where I'm from, I was on YouTube before this. I restarted on this channel because I wanted to bring up a new concept, which has so far been a lot more consistent and more fun for me to make, and more entertaining for people, obviously, as I'm seeing with the support that I'm getting. So I really do thank y'all for supporting the channel, supporting the content. I hope it's entertaining y'all. I just wanted to point you guys in the general direction of some other stuff I'm doing besides videos, as I have started making t-shirts that some people have already bought. This is really helpful for me, and it helps the channel a lot because I'm trying to get some new editing equipment so I can come out with better quality content even faster. My old fans know I am a college student, and if you're in college, you pretty much know every penny goes to your college life. You know, you don't really have extra money for computers and mics and all that stuff. But you know, my computer is pretty much aging by the day. It's not really meant for editing. I've been kind of winging it on for the last 3 years, so just trying to be proactive in that situation and raising money for that. So I will be creating some different t-shirts. Right now I have the LeBron Legacy one to go with the video that got 200,000 views. I really wanted to honor that video because that's my first video. That video broke tons and tons of records in record time for me. I think the closest thing I had on my old channel to this LeBron video was probably a video that had 45,000 views, and it took 3 years to get there. This got to 200K, and it's still counting, and that only took 2 weeks. The support on that has been amazing, so I wanted to roll a shirt out with that video just as kind of a special occasion thing, but I will be making more because I've been, you know, getting creative with Photoshop and whatnot. So I will have some more merch for you guys to purchase. If you're interested in this, the link is always in the bio. I have cards on my video for it. It leads straight to my store, which is basically my old website. I'm renovating it for just the store right now. I'll eventually have a full, you know, website of tons of content, and that's sometime in the future. Again, that's a money thing. That's tied to money. So just trying to be proactive with that. If you can help support that. Oh, so also there's a I've opened a Patreon account too for the same exact reason. Just trying to get money to do more things on this channel, because you know, the better tech I have, the better equipment I have, I can do things a lot faster. You know, I can actually use After Effects, because right now my computer is nowhere near powerful enough to actually run After Effects efficiently. So I miss out on opportunities there. And yeah, I'm just trying to be proactive in improving that kind of stuff. So if you can help support in that area, you know, it's greatly appreciated, like all your support has been. And if you can't, don't even worry about it, because I know people don't have money like that. You know, it is what it is. So again, thank you guys for supporting the channel. Keep it up, and I'll be back next video.